Okay, hello everybody again. Extension time for your art project for this week. So we've been doing, looking at journeys and thinking about journeys we've gone through. Been looking at David Hockney. We've been looking at the idea of a road going through and what you see either side as you go on your journey. So in this video I'm sort of extending it a little bit, and I want to think about an actual physical journey and the things that I might see. We're going to use a concertina book. Because they're quite good and you can extend them as far as you want. I think in this one I'm going to start off by having a drawing. I'm going to go over it in pen and use felt tips this time as well. So I hope you enjoy it. Let me know and bring me your efforts when you've finished. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is make a concertina book. I've taken a piece of paper and I've cut it into a strip. I'm going to fold it first of all in half, making sure that the sides are level, parallel. Because this is quite a thin one, I'm going to do it into thirds. I think the best way to fold something into thirds is to fold this until you have two halves, basically. And you see there, I've got that side is the same size as that. Nice and simple. Make a fold, then make your final fold. You have a bit of a wonky thing, but you then make it into your zigzag. So at the end it should be like a fan. It will stand up like that. The cool thing about zigzag books is once you've got one, you can make other ones and you can glue them together. So if you've got a little piece of paper or A3 or A4, you can always make them a lot bigger by just attaching new ones. And obviously, because we're thinking about journeys, this is quite handy because we can keep going until we can give that another blast, and for as long as we want to. So for my journey today, I'm going to think about going down to the coast in my car, disappearing out and seeing the sea and having a look at the seaside. So just to start off, I'm going to start off at this end here with London. So we're in London, so we need some landmarks. The other thing as well I'm going to put in here is my road. So I'm going to start off by putting my road in like this. A little bit like that. I'm going to start drawing some buildings on this side. So do some flats, some sort of skyscrapers. And I'm doing this in pencil and I'm doing it lightly because afterwards I'm going to go over in one of my felt tips. Now this felt tip is a permanent felt tip, which means it won't bleed into other colours. If you use these ones, it might be a good idea to do this very lightly and colour it in, and then at the end you go over the black bits if you want them. It's up to you. So if I start to put in my buildings, I can start to put in some pieces here like so, sketch them in. There's St Paul's going on there, other buildings here. Not being too exact at the moment because I don't need to be. I'm going to put a gherkin in, or part of the gherkin. I quite like the idea that you can't see the whole of it, that the top of it's sort of off the page. So I'm drawing my gherkin. I'm going to draw some other buildings in front of it so I can mask it. Buildings like this. I'm also sort of thinking about things like with the mosaic, when we did a mosaic project for the school, and there was a journey, a flow through, so I quite like that idea. I'm going to put a garden there with a little statue in it. Keeping going here, I've got another smaller building. Now obviously, because the gherkin is behind these buildings, I can rub that bit out and it'll give the illusion of depth, which is what I want. And so on and so forth. So I can go on to about here. A few more buildings. I'll do the Tower of London. I'm doing this very scribbly here, but that's because I've already done this once and I've actually gone over it with a pen as well. So there's my pencil drawing. When I finish my pencil drawing, I would then go over it again, but this time in my permanent marker. So if you've got a Sharpie at home, you can use one of those and draw in all my details. This is a bit that if you take your time on it, and I'm obviously not taking my time because I'm doing a presentation, but if you take your time on it, you can get a really beautiful result. and you start thinking about the details of the building, you start thinking about the way the buildings relate to the pavements or the roads. Need some steps there for St Paul's, some pillars, and just slowly add to it. Of course, when this is all finished, you can then go and rub it all out, rub all the pencils out, and you'll be left with the lines. You then need to go over it again and make sure that there's no bits that you've missed. So there roughly is my St Paul drawing and all the rest of it. There's my other part of the road. And then I rub this out and I have my actual proper drawing there. I've always wanted to say this, but here's one I made earlier. So here is my drawing of St Paul's at this end. So I've gone through, got my Gherkin building, a few other buildings. That's Mansion House. That's that one that looks like a ship. A building that looks like a ship near Mansion House with a clock in the top and the restaurant on top. Tower London, Tower Bridge. And again, because I like the idea of the Gherkin disappearing, I've done the same in this and made the top of the Tower Bridge disappear. And this is partly my journey. I live south of the river. I come to school in the city. Put the wheel in the background there just so we know this is definitely London. And I thought, as I'm going out, it'd be quite nice to be able to escape London completely. So the Docklands, little area with the walkways, the floating walkways. You've got the train tracks, the big train line that goes out. And so you get out into the city. Out of the city into the country, sorry. So here we have some trees and some fields. And I've only done the outline of this because I'm going to start colouring it in later, and I'll start introducing my patterns like I did earlier in the week. Then finally I get to the seaside on the sea, so I put some boats in. And finally my cruise ship going across the channel somewhere, my ferry going out towards France or wherever else it is. So all in all, my concertina book is quite huge, as you can see. And I would love to see what you could do with that. The only thing I've got to do now is start colouring it in. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so one technique that I'm using at the moment, which is really, really important, is layering. So as you can see from this building here, what I've done is I've done a yellow layer first, and then I've put grey on top of it. And that gives you a slightly different coloured grey compared to other greys, which makes it stand out slightly. I've done the same thing here with this one. I put blue on over the top. Ideally, you should put the lightest colour underneath the darker colour. It'd be worth having a bit of an experiment with this before you start, see how it goes and see which works or which combinations work. I would make notes of that in my sketchbook as well on a different page, so I know what to go to. As you can see here, so far the city is quite grey and quite dull, and I want it to become more and more and more green and blue as it goes out towards the sea. Okay, so here we have finished results. My very big journey, leaving the city, into the countryside, all the way to the sea, and off somewhere else on my travels. I might put some water in, I might not. I quite like not having any water in the river. I will see how I feel later on. Final piece, going all the way over Tower Bridge, through the South London, out to the seaside, and finally off on my travels.